With the 2JZ out and down at the machine shop, I got to thinking, I really don't want to get that thing in here and running and have to pull it back out to paint the engine bay. So today, that's what we're going to do, and maybe the interior too. Stick around. What's going on, guys? Brian back here with Block Garage, and as you know, we took the 2JZ back out because the plans changed and that thing went to the machine shop. It's getting some pistons and rods and should be back soon. My initial plan was to get it in here, get it running, drive the car for a while, blow everything back apart and paint, but I got to thinking, and that's going to be so much extra work. There really isn't any extra fabrication that needs to be done in the engine bay that I know of. If there is, it's small stuff. We can riv nut stuff on. I could do some touch-up if needed, but for the most part, there's nothing left for fabrication, so there really isn't any reason we shouldn't paint the engine bay. The first thing we need to do is strip all of this down, because this is just some black spray paint, rattle can that I put on top of the old rusty paint that was in here just to make it look decent, and it all needs to come back off. Now, I also got to thinking, it's the same deal with the interior. It's not as big of a deal, but, I'm going to have to put the dash in. We're going to have all the wiring harness in here. Whatever we need to do to get the car running and driving, put some seats in, center console, all that stuff. Not as big of a deal to pull it back apart as the engine bay, but I think we might as well do it. The exterior doesn't matter. When we get ready to do that, and strip it and paint it and all that stuff, we'll just mask everything off. So that's not a big deal. We can still stick with just the rattle can on the outside for now, drive the car. If it comes to that, maybe I'll change my mind, at some point. But anyways, first thing we need to do is get this engine bay stripped. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. All right, we got this all cleaned up. That sucked. That was terrible. Honestly, this is the worst thing I've ever done on this car, but it's all ready to go. Mostly cleaned it up with these cleanup discs here on my little die grinder and on the 4.5-inch grinder, where I couldn't get with that. Cleaned up with my little mini belt sander finger file thing. So it's all ready to go. We're going to mask it off next. I do have some areas that I couldn't get to. It's just not possible, that I'm going to touch up with some rust encapsulator underneath here. There's various areas, like right here. You can see there's some rust, just some light surface rust. So we'll hit that with some rust encapsulator first. And we're going to, like I said, tape it all off, mask it off right now so we don't get any overspray anywhere. And then we'll wipe it down and ready for some primer. All right, got this thing all masked off all the way around. Honestly, that was terrible. That was not very fun. Part of the issue is, probably, ideally, you would prime the entire car, base coat the entire car, and then undercoat. Having the undercoating on and trying to tape underneath it, it just made it less easy, I guess. So, I didn't really have any choice. I had to get it down and off the rotisserie so we could move on, but get it all masked off now. So the next step is to spray some rust encapsulator in those areas that I can't quite get fully clean of the light surface rust. But before we do, we're gonna wipe it down with the wax and grease remover, just so everything sticks well. I realized after the fact that I should have had rubber gloves on while I was doing this, just to keep the oils from my hands from recontaminating the metal. All right, if you haven't seen me use this stuff yet, it's Eastwood's Rust Encapsulator. It is specifically designed for areas like this where you can't quite get the surface rust off. It's made for light rust. They sell a rust converter that's for heavy rust, but we don't need that. So I already went ahead and did a little bit inside, basically Anywhere I even questioned whether I had a little bit of surface rust left, just in those areas that are really hard to get. So like this here, and there's some light pitting along here. So I'm going to basically do all of that anywhere in here like this I just couldn't get to. It's pretty simple. So let's just spray it on real quick. So yeah, pretty simple. They also sell this stuff in like gallon containers and stuff like that you can put in your spray gun, but I just got some of this. We're going to use this up, but let me go finish that up and I'll catch back up with you guys. All right, that stuff's all dry. We're ready to go. It's all prepped for our primer. So I got all my crap out over here. I'm kind of running out of room in the garage because probably noticed that the floor's wet. I did that on purpose, just like I did last time. It's to help keep the dust down and out of the primer from me moving around. And it also helped keep the overspray from sticking to the floor. I got 2 JZ stuff on the bench. I always have too much stuff on my toolbox, so I got this table out. It'll work. Got my fan in the door so we can blow that out. Where'd my filter go? Oh, filter fell on the floor. Yeah, so we're all ready to go, I guess. The engine bay is all prepped. So if you guys have been watching, following on with the project, you'll know this is only the second time I've ever used this spray gun. The only time I've ever sprayed anything with an HVLP gun is the bottom of the car. When we primed that, I did a little bit of paint too, where we didn't put some undercoating underneath. But anyways, this will only be the second time I've ever used it. Honestly, like this stuff here, not something I like. All the prep work and everything you have to do just to get the spray a coat of primer down. But anyways, what we're using here, same thing on the bottom, Eastwood epoxy primer. It's 2-part, you mix it 1-to-1. I got my cheap Harbor Freight spray gun here. It's the cheapest one you can get. It's like 30 bucks, something like that. I will be picking up a better spray gun to do the paint and the clear coat, but this will do for now. So I got to mix this up. I think I only need about 1 quart-ish to do the engine bay from what I looked at. So I don't want to mix up too much and waste it. But let's get this mixed up in the spray gun and get it on the car. Yeah, she's been sitting a while. Definitely needs to be mixed up good. Yeah, don't mix it like this. Do it in a mixing cup first. This ended up clogging up my gun and causing me a lot of annoyance. All right, we're finally ready to go. I had an issue with my spray gun. Apparently I didn't clean it very well last time I used it because it just kept clogging up. I couldn't spray anything. And this cheap Harbor Freight gun, you can't really take it fully apart. So I got it okay. It's spraying decent. Definitely not right, but I need to get some primer on this because my weekend's basically up. I'm running out of time, and I don't want to leave this bare. So hopefully it lasts me to the end and we get just one solid coat on there for now, for today. But yeah, let's just see how this goes. All right, guys. Well, get a couple coats of epoxy primer on the entire engine bay. This honestly took me way longer than anticipated, which seems to be pretty common with most stuff I do to the car. But yeah, this took up my whole weekend. Spent basically one whole day, and I got up early. Well, I got started maybe like 9 o'clock in the morning because I had some other stuff I had to do out here real quick to pick up and stuff. I had a mess out here. Anyways, but I was working. I worked late Saturday, so that took up most of the day. And then today, just cleaning up, finishing a little bit because I didn't quite finish yesterday. I had some more to finish over here of cleanup that didn't get to yesterday, and then miscellaneous spots where I just went back over and realized I hadn't got as good as I wanted. That took up the morning, and then it took way longer to mask this thing off than I figured it would. But ideally, I don't know how to do this stuff. I've never done body work like this, never painted a car, nothing. So I'm learning as I go. And I realize ideally you would prime and paint and then undercoat the entire car. Well, prime, paint the entire car, and then undercoat it because trying to mask around where that undercoating is annoying. Would have been way easier to do the undercoating last, but then the car would still be on the rotisserie. I don't know. I did the best way that I thought I should at the time. So that kind of brings me to what we're going to do next. And I had originally intended on priming both this and the interior and painting both right now, and then doing the engine swap, getting it running. That way we wouldn't have to pull anything back apart, right? The engine could stay in it when we do the body work and paint. However, with how annoying this is, I think I've changed my mind. I think, next is going to be stripping and priming the interior. That is the next best step. However, I think after that, we're going to start working on the actual bodywork before we do the 2JZ swap. And this is tentative. Maybe I'll change my mind. But I think that we want to get the body done, painted, and then start reassembly. And that is the ideal way. In my head, I wanted to get the car running sooner just because I wanted to, but also get the car running before paint and then blow it back apart and paint so that I wouldn't have to worry about scratching it while I'm working on it. If there's any modifications that have to be done, they could be done and then get painted when the car comes back apart. If I got to end up fabricating or cutting a hole somewhere or something after I painted it, it kind of sucks, but I shouldn't have to do anything that matters. If I have to cut something in the engine bay, touch it up real quick, it should be fine because it's the engine bay. It's not like, this is certainly not going to be a show car by any means, especially since I have been painting it and I have never painted before. But I think that's what I'm going to do, which means I do need, either way, I need to finalize a color for the car. Still haven't figured that out, but that's kind of important now. We're down to the point where I need to figure it out because I'm not painting the engine bay black anymore or the interior. That was the plan. I was just going to do them black, but when I got out here this weekend, I was like, if I'm doing this work, I'd rather do it exactly how I want. So it's going to be body colored, which is the ideal way. It'll look better. So that's what we're going to do. So I need to pick out the color. Anyways, I'm probably rambling enough. I think that's what we're going to do. That's tentatively in my head. Just going to get the bodywork and paint done, which is not going to be quick and easy. It's going to seriously push back my timeline of getting to drive the car. But I think it's for the best. And also, while this is happening, I'll be getting the 2JZ back from the machine shop, and parts have started to come in, so I can start assembling the 2JZ and get that all ready. I can work on that here and there in between, maybe mock some stuff up on here. I'll have the radiator and intercooler and stuff like that I could make sure is going to fit good in there. Stuff like that. Yeah, I'd love to know what you guys know. I'm sure there's plenty of people watching this that have body experiences, know way more than I do. I need to go do a ton of research because I don't know yet. I've primed and undercoated the bottom of the car, and that's the full extent of what I've done. I don't know proper steps yet on, priming, filler, paint, all that stuff. So I need to figure out exactly what I need to do for those tips, so I'm prepared. Got to purchase things ahead of time, obviously. Yeah, so that's where we're at. Please let me know if you got any tips or anything on stuff that I'm going to need to know to start on the bodywork here. We're going to need to strip that red paint all off because I want to go down to bare metal just because I know it has some filler on it. I don't want, if we're doing this, I want to start from fresh. Yeah, but not exactly where I intended to be at the end of this weekend. This stuff takes way longer than anticipated, but you know, it is what it is. It's part of having a project car. So let me know what you guys think. Please give me some tips on, you know, doing this body work or links to guides or anything like that. Anybody else's YouTube channel you think I should check out that does good body work and explains exactly what needs to be done and why. You know, right step by step, that would be ideal. Yeah, but anyways, at least the engine bay looks nice. It's all sealed, no more rust. Don't have to worry about doing anything up here like that. Obviously, I know I've got some spots I want to fill in with the body filler just to smooth out a little bit, like back there where I cut out the bottom underneath the battery tray there. I want to smooth that out. Oh, we got to seam seal this too. Can't forget that. That need to be seam sealed. But anyways, I'm going to end this one off here. Like I said, help me out here with the bodywork, guys. And hopefully I see you guys in the next video.